All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. On the fly with Kai Deering here. And today is Thursday, April 8th. I cannot believe it's April 8th, 2021. And I'm excited for another episode of the show. And I have a great guest here in the studio. And so we bring you tips, tricks, and hacks for the entrepreneur. And I got a hot topic for you today for sure. So I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine. I've known Dan Powers for over a decade. In fact, he's an incredible videographer. He owns his own video production company called Powers, Sand, and Vision. He has such a great last name to do anything with, right? His specialty is really working with local businesses. He's a musician, so of course he films bands and nonprofits, and he partners with market research firms. He also has worked with some huge companies, right? So Hyundai, L'Oreal, and Amazon Go. So quite a gamut there. He actually worked for me once. We had an event center that he filmed, and we did a little promo video for it. It was a lot of fun, and he brought all of his equipment, and it was quite impressive. But he's really, putting his past work history. Hard to believe that he was a chief operating officer and business consultant for $1 million CPA firm, because that's so, right brain versus left brain. And now you do this huge creative piece. And I know that you take a lot of pride in finessing from business owners how video will align with their companies, their goals, and their missions, including, because we're full gamuts, right? Music and wildlife photography and all that. So please, everybody, help me welcome to the studio, Dan Powers. We're excited to have you. Yay.
Thanks so much for having me, Kai. It's a real pleasure being here today.
Well, time flies, man. We have known each other a long time, and I think I knew you when you were in the CPA firm.
That's right. That was over 14 years ago.
Yeah. And then I remember watching you transition from that to this, and you just did it so beautifully. I know we've got a lot of entrepreneurs here that are either budding, looking to kick their jobs to the curb, right, and do that leap of faith. And it's funny now that we talk about it, I do remember that happening. Tell the folks how you ended up transitioning from that career, and how was that transition to be an entrepreneur in video?
Oh, sure. It's a great story. So 14 years ago, we were both members of the San Jose Chamber of Commerce, and I was working for a privately held CPA firm. I also have a band, as you mentioned. I'm a musician and drummer, like playing out in local clubs. And my band made a decision that we needed a video to broadcast out to the world so we could get more jobs. And I raised my hand and I volunteered and said, I'll put a video together. So that's the first lesson of today's episode, is never volunteer. So I bought a video camera. We got a gig at a club. I put the camera up at the back of the club. We played, and I looked at the footage later, and it was awful. The camera was tilted. The audio was terrible, but I kind of had a neck for editing. And there's a lot of rhythm in editing, and being a drummer, I just had the instinctive part on where to cut and everything. So I liked the editing part. And I kept getting more gear, and I kept videoing. And if you ever heard this saying about a boat owner, that a boat is a hole in the ocean that you pour money into, video is worse, because you keep buying more gear, and it's video gear and camera gear and audio gear. And I became a better and better videographer. And pretty soon, other bands were coming to me and saying, how much can I pay you to film my band? And it became an additional revenue stream in addition to the CPA firm. What happened is that the CPA firm was privately held, and the owner retired. And so while the CPA firm career was going down, my video career was going up. And as we were talking, I was a member of the San Jose Chamber of Commerce, known as a COO for the CPA firm. Just let everyone know that that company is going out of business, and now I'm a videographer. And look at me as a video producer. So that's how I already had a installed base of business owners who knew me as in one life, and now knows me as another.
That's amazing. And it's funny, like when we zig sometimes, when we thought we should have zagged, and then now all of a sudden we've got careers that we didn't even know and we're passionate about. I really appreciate that. And for the rookie, okay, so you and I were chatting about like just it's a virtual world. I assume we're coming out of this relatively swiftly, right? Everything's going to be open in June, but the presence, really, we were talking about this. Like you are rewarded for video, like on social media, on every platform. Like that's what they're screaming for right now. And so, if you're like, okay, I want to dabble in this stupid video thing, what do I need to do? Where would you even start? Like I'm asking for me, quite honestly. Like I do a few Facebook lives, but like, if you want to take it to the next level, what do you need to do?
So you have a few things that I find a consistent thread through a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, is that they are really self-critical on how they look, and that they will not film themselves because their hair is the wrong way, they don't like their voice. I think that a couple of the things that are most important about videos, especially videos that you do yourself, is the content and the audio. Stanley Kubrick, the great filmmaker, said that audio is about 75% of the movie, and that people will forgive a bad video if it had good audio, but they will not forgive a good video if it had bad audio. The other thing is that you already have the technology at hand. You have a very good camera in your cell phone right now. And there have been films that have been shot and have been accepted to the Robert Redford Sundance Film Festival in Utah that were shot completely on a cell phone.
Wow.
So you have the technology. The thing is that your content needs to be ironclad. Lighting is also pretty important, and the audio is important too. And also a video editor. But if you're with Apple, if you're an Apple person, your computer comes with iMovie, which is an editor, a video editor. And if you're a PC person, you can get from Adobe, you can get Premiere Elements, which is their consumer grade video editor. So, but if you zoom out a little bit, you have to be thinking, there's a great book out there called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yes, I have it.
And in that book, one of the main tenets is, do you want to be working in your business or on your business? And obviously you became successful by working on your business, growing your business, rather than rolling up your sleeves and going into it. So the big question is, do you want to learn video? Do you want to learn video editing? Because if you're doing this, you're working in your business rather than on your business.
That's a great hack. And our good friend Julie Hawkins just asked, and I was going to ask the exact same thing, Julie, what is your best suggestion or your favorite affordable microphone? And I guess this comes kind of in a twofold. For me, I want to know, what is that if I'm going to be filming from my iPhone, because there is that distance. That would be my caveat on that question. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. So a good microphone does not have to be expensive. I get a lot of my gear. I spend all of my lunch money at an organization called B&H Photo Video. And I believe their website is bnhphotovideo.com, or you can research that. I like a brand of microphones that come out of Australia called Rode, R-O-D-E microphones. So if you go up to B&H Photo and in their search area, put in DSLR video microphone, you will come up with a whole list of video microphones. And then you just filter that search return for Rode, R-O-D-E mics, and then your microphone will be coming up. And there you can get one, for home use, $150, something like that. And then one of the most important aspects of your home videos is taken care of, is the microphone.
So are you saying it's like a clip and then it's Bluetooth to your cell phone?
It's actually not a lapel mic. It is more of a handheld microphone on a stand.
Oh, got it. Okay. And then Julie, so I wanted to know how to do it with the cell phone and doing a video like outside even or things like that. So that with the stand would be very helpful. She wants to know what about from your desktop. So like right now I'm just using, I have a pretty new MacBook Pro. So my audio, when I tried this microphone, it was as good as what the Apple had from my computer. So what are your recommendations if maybe somebody doesn't have that high of quality?
Right. So first thing you need to make sure is that you have a microphone input on your desktop or your computer. And many of these DSLR microphones will work with your desktop or laptop computer.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So we talked about like, okay, so now we have our equipment, right? So if we're going to do our cell phone, now we've got the microphones and the lighting. I use lighting on my desk always. I think that's terrible when people are all in shadows. So we got our lighting, we're all set to go. And now we're like, okay, now what? So so first of all, when, what, where, when? So when would we do it? And what platform will we use it on?
All right. So when are you talking about the actual filming of it?
Yeah,
Or
so when would we do that for our business? We want to promote our business. What are the maybe 3 or 4 reasons we would do video to help promote our business?
okay. So the first thing that you need to pay attention to is usually when I do a video, I ask my client, what are the business goals? And should the video be aligned with your company goals? And you can be looking at short, medium, or long-term goals, 3, 5, or 7 years. If the goal of the video is to grow your business, are you looking to gain more viewerships? Is this a sales-oriented video? Is it an informational video? I personally like informational videos, and there's a mantra in this part of the video world of publishing and publishing frequently. And so you can take those videos, put them on your website, definitely put them on your Facebook page. It costs nothing to have a YouTube page and put them on there. A lot of what people do is that they create their video, put it out on YouTube, and then link it to their homepage on their website. So a couple of things happen here is that Google owns YouTube, and that if you have a video out on YouTube, Google knows about it. And if you take that video and post it on your website, Google knows about it. And they also know that you're posting fresh content on your website. They also know that you're posting video content on your website. So if I was looking up something for you in your industry, Kai, on Google about prepaid legal deals, hopefully your company would come up on the first page. Or if you're a florist, or if you do brakes for foreign automobiles, is that you really want to come up on that first page of the organic Google returns, and having multiple videos on your website that are initially posted on YouTube is one of the ways to do it. And it costs nothing.
Yeah, so organically you'll be able to come up just because you have video content and we're being rewarded for that video content right now.
Absolutely. And the other piece is about informational videos too. One of the magic golden brass rings that you want to achieve is being top of mind. And that if I needed legal help, do I call the attorney that has their advertisements on buses and on billboards? Or do I want to think about Kai? Who comes up top of mind to me? So you want to have your website as a portal for information. And so tips and tricks, what are some hacks? You can even do, if you're ambitious, identify who your power partners are. So if you were working for a CPA firm, a power partner would be a financial advisor, for example. And then have an interview with them. And then post that on YouTube and then link it over to and then post about every week, every other week, this informational videos that are about your industry or about allied industries.
Yeah, you and I were talking about like right now it's critical that you give away as much content, as much free stuff, because it's not like we were teasing. It's not like we have a cookie where we're like, here, try this cookie, right? So,
Right.
giving away free content and is what you've got to do. And people want to know you, like you, trust you. And video is the fastest way, I think, to bridge that for sure. Atma, a good friend of mine and colleague, said, is there a preferred length for videos? Because I think we've gone from, like old school where it's a long video and now it's like, reels. They want 15 seconds, So what do you recommend on that?
So the sad part of this question is that there was a study that goldfish have a longer attention span than people. And I'm not going to go into the reasons on it, but I just have to deal with what is. And so the short answer is that a video should really not be longer than 2.5 minutes. The reasons is that once a person's attention span begins to drift, it is really hard to reel them back in. And so that we're coming back to content again. The other part of it is that if you really like video and video editing, you will begin to learn that no one really wants to see a talking head on a promotional video for 2 minutes. So what you really need to do is to put in supplemental footage or B-roll or photographs, something that ties in with the content of that video. So about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And when business owners come to me and say, how long should it be? I want a promotional video. I'm introducing a new line of product. I am going into a new market. We have a new person in the C-suite. How long should the video be? It should be 2.5 minutes. Studies show that people talk between 175 and 225 words a minute. So you can get a lot across in about 550 words. Also, a script is going to be eminently helpful for you on that. And you can use a tablet, a Samsung tablet with a teleprompter app on that.
All right, I'm taking a lot of notes here. Like a teleprompter app. I didn't think about that. I've often like taped this stuff up on the wall and all that stuff.
Right.
So this is another great question, and I know you know about this stuff because you're also a musician. Do you have to worry about copyright in any if you're using music in just a few seconds?
Absolutely, you have to be very aware of copyright. I had a client come to me and they wanted to put a promotional video together and they wanted to use a cover tune of their favorite country singer. And I said, no, we can't do that. So you can't, and also YouTube will bust you. Automatically, you will get an email from them saying, hey, you are using copyrighted material. They won't take your video down, but they will let you know that they're watching. You have to also be very aware of what in YouTube language is called a strike. And a strike is if you're using copyrighted material, the person who owns that copyright finds out that you're doing it and they lodge a complaint with YouTube. And if you get a couple of strikes, they take down your YouTube page. So the workaround for this is to use copyright-free music. And there are a lot of sites out there, websites that have copyright-free music. So you join them for a yearly fee and you get access to tons of music that you can use without worrying about violating a copyright. But for sure, be aware of copyright violations and don't use Justin Bieber's latest tune on your video because you will get caught.
Yeah, I think the confusion is like Facebook lets you use all kinds of things for stories that are, Justin Bieber, the Grateful Dead, whatever.
Yep.
And it's kind of like it gets confusing because can I use it on that? But I've been in the doghouse by putting on Facebook, my husband was DJing in between some speakers and the whole video got, taken down. I appreciate that. Speaking of, we were kind of going to digress and go back. Julie wants to know, what's your favorite teleprompter app again?
I forget the name of it, but it is a very basic teleprompter app. And the features that you want to look for is that You can import a Word document into the teleprompter app. You can change the point size of your letters. You can change the color, and you can change the scroll speed. So those are going to be the top three features that you're going to be looking for in a teleprompter app.
Good. And Atma is stuck on the music part, but it's so funny because what I've been doing is I use my husband's music. So it's so great. I got a musician in the house. And so he's asking, is there a way, to plug the music artists and sort of give them free advertising? I don't know, but maybe you do. I don't think there is a way, but.
Oh yeah, at the end of your video, you can always put a credits at the end of your video and say, the music on this video is by whomever. And you can put their website or their YouTube page on there. Yeah. So there are ways. Credits at the end of the video are the way to plug an artist.
Great. So I think part of the intimidating thing, at least for me, and my friend KK's on here too, and we're really working on our social media game, is we see these I'm like on a reel and a TikTok and a TikTok and they're just so cutesy, and I'm like, I am not that creative. What do you? I know I have the time. So what in the world, what about TikTok? What about Reels? How cutesy do you have to be and all that? It's intimidating, honestly.
So your question is, how up to date are you on, have to be on all the social media platforms?
Well, how cutesy do you have to be on TikTok? And do you need to be on TikTok? Do you need to do Reels? Because I keep hearing, you got to do Reels, you got to do Reels. And I'm like, oh, I could barely figure out how to do this.
Right. If the goal of your videos is to promote your business, where are your potential clients gathering? Are they gathering on TikTok? Are they on Instagram? So if you're happen to have beauty products for a younger generation, then you definitely look at TikTok and you look at Instagram. If you're a florist and you have a shop in Willow Glen, and most of your people are buying anniversary flowers or Valentine's Day flowers, they may or may not be on TikTok. The other piece is that if you have it in the budget, is to hire a social media manager. And these are the people managing social media. And, TikTok, I don't think you would have heard that phrase a year and a half ago, but now it's a thing. And 6 months from now, there's going to be another platform. You, as a person working in and on your business, are not responsible for keeping up to date on all social media platforms. There are people that do this full time. And so, to that end, is that just identify the big three or the big four or the one that that where your clients and your prospects congregate, and stick with those. And so, Facebook and YouTube, you've got the majority of your eyeballs right there. Or go to Instagram. Instagram has videos now that are longer than a minute. So maybe 3. And then if someone advocates going to whatever.com because it's a hot new lick this week, consider it, but don't put too much time into it. Know where your people are, where they congregate, and stick with those. The other thing is that, if you're really concerned about, am I good on camera? Am I coming off correctly? Do I have a good voice for it? Do I have the look? What I would advocate is get a small group of people of like-minded thinking individuals, maybe in their own group, and you can post a video up on YouTube that is unlisted. Only you have the URL. And you take that URL and pass it around to your group, and you do self-critiquing. It's almost like a 360 review in a job. And then everybody puts it up, and you critique each other with the goal of helping each other have a better visual product.
I love it. My dear friend Jeannie says, you should, you hear that it depends on what platform, but you got to go to all of them, because what happens if you get in Facebook jail? I have a good friend who got in Facebook, a couple of friends, honestly, that's been in Facebook jail, and all their stuff was on there. Or my one friend got his account hacked so bad he never got it back. So, what are your thoughts on multiple platforms, and what are your thoughts right now today on the ones you should be on?
So, I think your viewer has a very good point. What happens if, not only if a platform goes away, but for some reason you get bounced off of it? You go into Facebook jail, you get a couple of strikes on YouTube. Is that one thing is that you should always have a backup copy of your videos. And so if Facebook goes away, or YouTube, you get a couple of strikes and you go down, you can find another platform that you can go on to. But you should not put all your eggs in one basket, and that's for sure. That's why a lot of people advocate having multiple platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and maybe one more. And so if one goes down or you get bumped off, you have backup. And also you have your videos, the video file, the MPEG-4, and that if a new platform comes up, you can put all your videos up there too. So it's backing up and not relying on one or two platforms and keeping all your eggs in one basket.
Well, the coolest thing I think about, the whole lockdown and social media is that has given the solopreneurs like us a huge platform and an audience where we never had before, to be able to do it ourselves and entertain and entertrain and sell without selling and give away free content and just do amazing things. When do we hire a videographer versus our cell phones and our Zoom lives and all that kind of stuff? When will we hire one? Like, under what circumstances? And number two, how do we know if we get a good one? So tell us, how do we hire one? What are we looking for?
So depending on where you are in your personal video filming journey, really will dictate on what type of videographer you can get. So I kind of consider myself in the Goldilocks position. Is that if you hire a videographer that doesn't charge a lot, it's either they don't have a lot of experience, their gear may be iffy. However, the biggest thing is they're going to show up and they're going to say, "Where do I point the camera?" And they'll say, "Okay, I'm ready. Now, are you ready?" And there's no advice or consultation coming from them. So when you get into my bracket, and before you get into the video production companies that shoot car commercials and work for NASA, is that I would come in and I would ask the business owner, what kind of content do you have on there? And inevitably, a business owner who's very passionate about what they do, that's natural. And I hear this all the time, they say, I have 1,400 clients and customer service is my number one priority. But they don't realize, or they don't put the empathy into the people watching the video. On a B2B, business to business video, the only reason, Kai, I'm watching your video is to see if you solve my business problems. There's something else in there called the 5-second takeaway. So I'm watching a video. You got about 5 seconds to impress me, to make me motivated to watch you for the next 5 minutes. So in that first 5 minutes, you really need to show me how you can solve my problems. A person doing their own video is going to waste that 5 minutes talking about customer service. So I come in. That's the difference between an entry-level videographer and someone who costs a little bit more, is that I would coach and advocate and guide a business client into what kind of content needs to be in that 2 to 2.5 minutes.
Got it.
I would coach you in very gently and diplomatically saying, nobody out there cares how many clients you have. No one kind of really cares how many years you've been in business. But if you fix brakes, if I needed my brakes fixed, one of the things is, am I going to be stuck in your waiting room for 5 hours? You may offer a shuttle service to get that person back home. So you want to put that like really up front. And that kind of market do you serve? Do you serve Willow Glen? Do you serve West San Jose? What kind of warranties? Things. You address the concerns of the viewer, and you take those objections head on for that. A entry level videographer is not going to give you any sort of advice like that.
Got it. Well, we are up on time. I can't believe how fast it went. So many people had so many great questions. This was super fun.
I thought I had a half hour, not 5 minutes.
I love it. So I want to know, like, okay, so let's say we decided we're going to go to the next level in our video game, if you will. How would they? I know you're here in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area. How would people engage with you, and if they wanted to hire you or wanted to work with you or ask some questions?
The easiest way is to email me, and so my email address is my last name, and so it would be Powers Powers _ Dan at hotmail.com. And you can email me there, and that would be a great start. And if people have some questions about how I get started, you were talking about giving back to the community. I'm really big on giving free advice. And so if there are a couple of questions that a person has, I'm good on that. I'm happy to answer questions for the community.
Great. Well, it looks like everybody really enjoyed, the presentation today. So we just really appreciate you, Dan. And with that, thanks everybody for checking out the show. I'm super excited to be able to come to you every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, all time zones in between, and bring you incredible people like Dan Powers. So please reach out to him, and we'll see you next week. Naomi says, thank you for the great presentation. That's awesome. So with that, take care, take charge. We'll see you guys next Thursday at another great interview. Bye-bye.